The altar that eats destinies, final part. There is a kind of silence. The kind that comes after a storm. Not before it. Not during it. After. When everything that could shake has already been shaken. But on that morning, in that church, the silence didn't feel like peace. It felt like something was about to be exposed. I wasn't there physically. But by then, distance no longer meant anything. Because what was happening in that church, I was seeing it, hearing it, feeling it. And for the first time since all this began, I knew something had changed. Break. The service started like every other. Drums. Songs. Voices rising. People clapping. Trying to hold on to normal. But normal had already expired. Pastor Daniel stood on the altar. As usual. Calm. Controlled. But behind him, they were all there. The women. The same ones. Watching. Waiting. Confident. Because for years, this had always ended the same way. Until now. Hook, something different begins. Pastor Elijah stepped forward. Slowly. Deliberately. No rush. No noise. Just presence. He took the microphone. Looked at the congregation. And for a moment, said nothing. Then quietly, he said, "Today, we end this." The air changed. Instantly. Not emotionally. Not psychologically. Spiritually. The kind of shift you don't explain. You feel. The lead witch smiled. That same calm, dangerous smile. "We've heard that before," she said softly. But Elijah didn't respond to her. He turned. Placed his hand on the altar. And this time, he didn't just touch it. He spoke to it. Every covenant tied to this ground. His voice was calm. But it carried weight. "You have no legal hold here anymore." The room trembled. Break, the first crack. A deep sound rose from beneath the altar. Not loud. But powerful. Like something ancient had just been disturbed. The congregation froze. Because for the first time, the altar was reacting without control. The witches felt it. Their composure shifted. Slightly. The lead witch stepped forward. "You don't understand what you're touching," she said. And this time, her voice carried something new. Warning. Elijah looked at her. Calm. Unmoved. "I understand perfectly," he replied. Then he spoke again. "What was dedicated in darkness. Pause. Will be reclaimed in light." Hook, the exposure begins. Suddenly. One of the women screamed. Not a normal scream. This one was raw. Uncontrolled. She fell to the ground. Convulsing. The congregation gasped. Another woman followed. Then another. Within seconds, the entire group began reacting. Their calm. Gone. Replaced with panic. "No, stop, stop." The lead witch staggered back. Her expression breaking for the first time. "You're not permitted," she shouted. But Elijah raised his voice. And for the first time, it thundered. "You have no permission here anymore." Break, the confessions. What happened next? No one was prepared for. The women began speaking. Not willingly. Forcibly. Like something was pulling the truth out of them. "We took the pregnancies. I destroyed his business. We seduced the pastors. The altar demanded it." The church erupted. People shouting. Crying. Backing away in fear. Everything hidden was now exposed. Hook, the covenant revealed. The lead witch collapsed to her knees. And through gritted teeth, she spoke. "This land was never yours." Her voice trembling. "The first man gave it to us." Images seemed to fill the room. Not visible. But felt. The covenant was sealed with blood. Her voice cracked. "And the altar feeds on it." Elijah stepped closer. "And today," he said quietly, "it ends." Break the breaking of the altar. He lifted his hand. And this time, he struck the altar. Not physically, but with authority. And the reaction was immediate. A deafening crack. The entire altar split. Light burst through the cracks. Blinding. Pure. The ground shook violently. A sound erupted. Like something screaming. As it was being torn apart. The congregation fell to the ground. Crying. Shouting. Praying. The witches screamed. Not in anger. In defeat. And then. Silence. Hook aftermath chaos. The altar. Was still. Dead. For the first time. The community erupted. Word spread fast. People gathered. Angry. Furious. They should be stoned. Burn them. They destroyed our lives. The witches. Now weak. Broken. Human. Fear replaced their power. But Elijah stepped in. No. His voice firm. This ends here. And slowly. The anger settled. Not gone. But controlled. Break, restoration begins. Days passed. Then weeks. And something unbelievable happened. Restoration. Women who had lost pregnancies. Conceived again. Businesses rebuilt. Marriages restored. Peace returned. Even Pastor Daniel fell to his knees one day. Crying. Finally free. The other pastors. Restored. Their minds clear. Their spirits whole again. The church changed. Not loud. Not dramatic. But clean. Alive. And Pastor Elijah. He didn't celebrate. Didn't boast. But the people did. They honored him. Celebrated him. Because they knew. They had witnessed something rare. A battle. That was finally won. Final hook, quiet reflection. And me. I stood far away. In Lagos. Watching it all unfold. And for the first time. In a long time. I slept. Without fear. Because what was once feeding. Had finally been destroyed. But one thing stayed with me. A quiet reminder. That darkness. Never leaves without a fight. Though sorrow may last for a night, surely joy comes in the morning.